Over the last 75 years, over 10,000 chemicals have been introduced to our food supply. Yet the EU only allows 300 food additives. But at Thrive Market, we bring our members the highest quality brands and restrict more than 1,000 ingredients found at conventional grocery stores, making the switches easy with our Healthy Swaps scanner, which finds better versions of all your favorite pantry, snacking, and home essentials without the added junk, dyes, and fillers. Plus, it's all delivered straight to your door. So if you're looking to shop at a grocery store that actually cares about your health, go to thrivemarket.com/podcast and you'll get 30% off your first order and a free gift.
And hello, everyone. It's your girl, Gabrielle. Welcome to another episode of Hot Topics. So, if you're not already familiar with this web series, I'm going to tell you what we're all about in just a minute. So sit tight and enjoy the ride. Yes, this is Hot Topics. Welcome to the show. If you're not already familiar with us, this is the web series where we like to talk about those steamy topics, particularly things that are in our purview as we are a tutoring company. So we like to focus on education, employment, mental health, physical health, pretty much anything that's within our scope. So how we like to do things is we like to take single topics and we like to do a deep dive into them using a question and answer type of format. I like to use my mental health counseling skills on my guests. So I get to practice those skills that I learned back in graduate school. So hopefully I still got it. But so this is the show where we like to talk about those things that people don't really talk about, or it's not as public enough, or it's not a lot of attention on it. This is the time and the place to put that attention, to shine that light on it, so to speak. So today I am excited because we are doing a follow-up interview. And our topic for today is A Child of Divorce Part 2. So once in a blue moon, we like to repeat topics because there might be a different perspective to the same thing, and we like to get as many different perspectives as possible. So this is a special episode, and this is being streamed live. So if you happen to be watching it in real time, please leave your questions and comments in the chat, and we will get to them as soon as possible. But if you're watching this on the replay, that's okay. Leave your questions and your comments anyway. It helps us out a lot. Yes, so we are bringing this topic back, A Child of Divorce, Part 2. We're bringing it back. And I have a guest with me who is going to help me with this discussion. He is a repeat guest, actually, and his name is Michael Overlie. I'm excited to bring him back. He was actually the guest for the first part, and so I brought him back for the second part. So we are up for round 2, and I'm very much looking forward to this discussion. So I'm just going to get right to it. So who is Michael Overlie? I'm going to remind you who he is. So Michael Overlie is a lifelong dog fanatic. He has had a gift of connecting with animals since he was a small child. Dogs have been with him most of his life, giving him gifts and teaching him lessons. His greatest breakthrough was after the death of his brother. While grieving this loss, he was fully awakened to his own potential and the gifts our animals bring to our lives. Now he helps other men awaken to the gifts available to them from their dogs. He has dedicated himself to assisting men and their dogs and discover their path to living a life of purpose, being extraordinary. Remembering, this is Michael's purpose, his mission on this earth. From helping save lives in a trauma center to doing energy healing work with people and animals, Michael's love for life shines through. He has trained in multiple energy healing modalities and infuses spiritual energy into everything he teaches, providing a safe space for healing and growth to occur. He knows what your dog is trying to show you, to teach you. Come join him on a powerful expedition of finding yourself and remembering who you are. That is fabulous. So I'm going to bring him to the stage right now. Hi, how you doing?
Hey, Gabrielle, I'm great. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, thank you for coming back. I know this is a tough topic, and
Mm,
I appreciate you putting your feet, getting on the hot seat, so to speak, again.
absolutely. You got it. You got it.
All right, so I brought you back. So if you, I wanted to talk more about the process of your parents' divorce and the
Mhm.
aftermath and woo, and all that jazz.
Okay.
So if you wouldn't mind, I know you mentioned it in the first episode, but if you wouldn't mind just reiterating the story of your, well, when you found out uh, about your parents' divorce.
Okay. Yeah. So I was 11 or 12. I can't remember exactly. And life was pretty good. My brother and I thought things were going pretty good. And one day our mom called us downstairs and she said, boys, come downstairs. Your father has something to tell you. So we're like, oh, okay. So we go downstairs. And he was standing there and he had some bags packed and we're like, oh, where are you going? He used to travel for work sometimes. And he couldn't even lift his head up, couldn't even look us in the eye. And finally mom got upset and said, boys, your father's leaving us, and basically shoved him out the door, slammed the door, and we were just left dumbstruck. 'Cause we had never had any idea anything was going on. They never argued around us, never fought around us. And then all of a sudden, dad's just gone. Um, and I was always a sensitive kid, and somehow during this event and not long after, was able to blame myself for his leaving somehow. I didn't know why or what that was, but I took it upon myself to take responsibility that I had somehow pushed him away. Um, I had suicidal ideation, never did anything about it, but for quite some time, I thought maybe everyone else would be better off if I wasn't here. So that was tough. And I luckily at the time had this amazing freaking dog who he could read me and he knew what to give me and when to give it to me when he was around me. Um, yeah, amazing dog, amazing dog. But the divorcing was really interesting. It was I can say that now. But, yeah, we weren't taught how to communicate. We weren't taught how to express ourselves, and so those were really hard times. And my brother and I, we couldn't talk about it to each other. We didn't know what to say, so that was tough.
So thank you for sharing your story again. There's a few things that you brought up. Um, well, one of the things that I noticed when you explained what happened is this seemed to happen. It seemed to happen pretty quickly. Is
Mhm.
is that is that about right? It seemed to happen like it did the whole event. I just imagined like this long drawn out thing, but I picked up that this happened like fairly quickly.
Yeah, no, it was fairly quickly. I know they still had their court proceedings and stuff to go through, but um, my recollection, excuse me, is that it went very fast, and I think that was more so on my father's side. He didn't want any reconciliation. I know my mom wanted to try, but yeah, it was. came hard and fast, and we had just moved to a new town when this happened about 6 months prior. We had moved to from was it Illinois to San Diego, and we hardly knew anybody, and we just barely got there, and Dad was done. Again, I don't know what his reasons were, but yeah, that was tough.
So take us back to that moment. So you're downstairs, you see the suitcases. Your mom says your dad is leaving. Is your dad saying anything? Do you remember him saying anything?
No, like I said, he couldn't mumble. He couldn't look us in the eye. Nothing. He just stood there with his head hanging.
So it was your mom that threw him out, or he said he was going to leave?
I think he told her he was going to leave, but he couldn't say it to us. So she prompted it.
Okay. So you see him walking out the door. What's going through your mind?
Just bewilderment, and then he was barely out the door, and Mom cussed something at him and slammed the door and kind of startled us. Just yeah, like we're looking at each other like, what the hell's going on here?
You said bewilderment. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, like as I mentioned before, they never even argued in front of us. So this was like someone just dropped a bomb, and also boom, big surprise, not a happy one. We never had any inkling that there was a problem, that something was wrong, because they protected us from that by talking behind closed doors, and I mean whatever. I'm not sure where they talked about anything, but yeah, it was we were dumbstruck, bewildered, because we just had no idea that anything was even amiss.
So all of this was a shock to you. You're thinking, they're getting along, there's no arguments, and then all of a sudden I'm leaving.
Yeah, that was it. It was just, we thought it was like this, and then next minute it was like that. So there was no idea, no concept that anything was coming.
Right. And I remember before you talked about being confused.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, completely confused. Again, because all the information that I had said things were going well, or at least everybody was okay, and all of a sudden that's not the case. So did I have wrong information? Was I not told the truth? You know what I mean? So it was just a very confusing time.
I imagine so. And then this is your world just shook, because then you mentioned earlier about you blamed yourself and the suicidal ideation.
Yeah. Yeah. Shook, crumbled, just fell apart. Um, yeah, I think because my brother and I looked up to our dad. He was a powerful man in his work, and um, we kind of liked that. Our dad was, hey, he's important. We thought that was a big deal. Um, and all of a sudden, we didn't feel very important.
Your view of him changed.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know what to think at that point.
So all this was happening, you're confused, you're bewildered. This man that you and your brother looked up to, he wasn't what he wasn't what you thought he was. So there seems to be a lot of changes happening very quickly in terms of um, in terms of how you were seeing things. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. It was, the excuse me, we have these identities that are created by us or created by people that are in our life. And our, or I should say, my identity of him and our relationship um, was just kind of like tossed out the window. And I can't speak for my brother in that way, but I know he was upset and confused too. Um, yeah, I didn't know what was going on, who the guy was anymore, and yeah, it was scary.
So tell me, how did you see your mom?
You mean at that time? How did I see her?
Yeah, at that time.
Um, she was sweet and smart and hardworking, and busted her butt to keep the house together, and um, yeah, she was just mom.
Well, you said that you saw your father as this powerful being that you looked up to, and after he left, he was no longer so. So
Hmm.
how did you see your mom? Did you see her as someone to look up to, or
Oh,
how did you view
yeah, I
her?
see what you're saying. Somewhat. She was always real, kind of more quiet and gentle, and um, he was like this big presence in the room kind of guy. Um, she had to step up because all of a sudden, he's gone and she's got a lot more to take care of. So she really, she had always worked hard, but she really kicked it into high gear to make sure that Bob and I were taken care of.
So it's sort of like your father, was it sort of like the gender roles, like your father was in charge of the household and your mom was the support system, and then when he left, that she had to assume that role of taking care of the household?
Yeah, he didn't do squat around the household. So he uh he went to work and came home, and that was pretty much it. So she had already been running the house, but it was another level for her because he was literally gone. And so she's in a new town where she hardly knows anybody and has to scramble to find a way to make sure she can get back to work herself so she can support her two sons.
Right. So she became a single mother
Hmm.
overnight.
Well, as she tells us, she'd been a single mom for a long time. Um, he he wasn't super involved in things. He could be really charming, but he wasn't really super involved with our day to day lives.
Oh, so before the split, things were already kind of rocky.
I mean, I don't know. I can't say that. It's just the way it was. I can look back now and go, "Oh man, yeah, he was never around much," but it was just that was just our experience. We didn't know any different, so it didn't seem rocky. It might have been rocky between them, and we didn't know. But he was just, as far as I knew, he was just a busy guy.
Mm, okay. So let's take it back now. So you mentioned the suicidal ideation, and
Mhm.
um, you you blamed yourself for the split. Do you mind going into that a little bit more?
No, no. So my older brother was like this gentle, sweet, quiet, subservient guy. Um, he listened and he minded his folks well, and I was this little ball of fire and and energy, and um, I like to push limits. Yeah, some kids at 2 are always, why? Um, I took that energy and ramped it up times 10, and I was getting into something all the time. And I wasn't doing anything to hurt anybody, but I was just an energetic and exploratory child. And that didn't bode well with my father, I think, because he wanted to put this is how things need to be, and that never sat well with me. So, I didn't get along in that way sometimes.
Well, after the split, I mean, so were you still the energetic, didn't want to listen?
Oh
Were
yeah.
you still, yeah, were you still that high strung?
Um, Not high strung, but like I said, I was always a sensitive kid. And yeah, I started acting out even more. At one point, he was talking about sending me some military academy because he didn't know how to be a parent. Um, so his idea of taking care of the situation was to ship you off, I guess. Um, yeah, no, I was still energetic, and I was playing soccer and surfing, and and doing all the stuff. I was out trying to expend energy, and I didn't know why I was always searching. I was an adrenaline junkie too. I would do stuff, silly things that my friends would dare me to do because I was craving that attention.
Like what things were you doing? You just said you were acting out. Like what things were you doing?
Okay, so here's an example. One day, my neighbor friend and I had a can of lighter fluid, and we wrote our names on the pavement. We weren't setting houses on fire, but wrote our names on the pavement, and we got the the attention of an FBI agent who was having to pass by. So we, our folks got a little talking too about that one. But stuff like that, and again, never hurting anybody, but doing stuff that you just didn't fall under the purview of a well-behaved kid.
Mm. So now, where does the self blame and the ideation come in?
Um, because of the way I acted and would get in trouble with my dad a lot, I thought maybe that it was my behavior that caused this, that caused him to leave. Um, so I started blaming myself. Again, I was a kid, don't know how I got to that point, but I did. And I figured that I had because I hadn't listened and pissed him off too many times, that maybe I had caused this situation, created this rift to cause him to leave.
How long was that going on?
Oh, I don't know. Specifically, I don't know.
Hmm. So you said you had suicidal ideation. Can you um, explain that more in depth in terms of what you were thinking?
I didn't have a plan, like I said, and I never tried anything, but it kept coming up that maybe everybody would be better off and happier if I wasn't here. Um, I don't remember a whole lot more in depth about it than that. Like I said, I wasn't ready to leave a note, and I wasn't ready to act on anything.
So you were thinking things like everyone would be better off if I weren't here. Um, things would be better if I disappeared, things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, eventually well, at some point the ideation stopped. Do you recall that moment?
No, that wasn't a specific moment. It just, I was able to just keep carrying on. Again, because I, I could go and I couldn't talk to people, but I could talk to my dog. Excuse me. He just gave me this safe space where I could just be and was able to open up and hold him and cry and yeah. And at some point, I stopped thinking those scary thoughts.
So you were aware of those thoughts. It wasn't like, oh, this is something I just think about every day. You were aware of that you were having these thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had this was the first dog that you had your dog that this is the dog that you talked about in the previous episode that you leaned on more for that comfort, right? To feel those holes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was fantastic.
Awesome. All right. So let's get into what happened after the split. So, what some common things that happen is now there's two different addresses. So, what happened after that? I know some people, they stay with one parent most of the week and they visit the other parent on the weekends. Did that happen to you? Did you have those alternate schedules, ultimate
Yeah, yeah,
alternate living arrangements?
yeah. It was sometime here, sometime there. I don't remember if it was regular all the time. I doubt that it was. Yeah, and that was weird and confusing and hard and um, bouncing back and forth between two places. It's like kind of feel like, do I belong in either one of them? Or yeah, it was really strange.
Right, because you're already confused at this point, right? You're already confused and bewildered, and now you're bouncing back from house to house.
Yeah, yeah, that was even more confusing. It was strange, but that's what we did. So dad's over there, mom's over there. You spend some time at this one, you spend some time at that one. It was really strange. And then holidays were just weird as hell.
Can you talk about that a little bit more? How was the holidays?
Um, it was strange because I never had to schedule holidays with my family as a kid before. So it was, Thanksgiving with this parent, and then Christmas Eve with that parent, and then back over to that house Christmas Day, and that was just really odd. It was really odd.
It was odd because this was something you weren't you weren't used to, or you couldn't tell me. Talk more about that feeling of being odd.
Well, yeah, I mean, most of my life to that point, we had one house and everybody was there, right? For the holidays, for whatever. And then bouncing back and forth between other places for holidays um and then having to schedule different times with a different parent in a different place. It was strange and uncomfortable.
This wasn't something that you were used to.
No.
Mm. So how is your brother handling all this?
Um, I don't know. Like I said, we didn't talk about it much. And he uh he was always like, as I mentioned, quieter than me. And I would, you know, sometimes say stuff I didn't mean or whatever. I'd act out a little bit. But he didn't do that. He bottled his stuff up pretty good.
So you two didn't talk about what happened between the parents and how things ended up afterwards.
Not really. I mean, we didn't even know how to talk about it. We were never taught how to, just basically express ourselves and have a conversation, have a difficult conversation about anything. Um, yeah, so we just kept going on.
Well, you mentioned earlier that you were acting out. Was your brother doing the same thing?
No, nope. I think he was too afraid to. Yeah, I think he was more afraid of my dad, growing up than I was.
How so?
I, Dad was not a nice guy. He could be a little mean, more than a little mean. He could be pretty rough. Um, yeah, he didn't. He grew up in a really less than nurturing environment, let's say, and he that's how he thought you needed to be as a parent.
Which didn't work for you. His parenting style. It's, would you say you were rebelling against him?
Sure. Yeah.
But it sounds like your brother was more in line.
Yeah. Yeah. He was submissive. He's not bad. He wasn't bad, you know. I mean, as far as not standing up for himself, but he was not one to make waves.
I mean, your father threatened to ship you to military school
Yeah, not him, me.
because you were the bad one.
Yeah, I guess.
Hmm. So I imagine like the teenage years were pretty rough. So so after the split, how talk more about um let's fast forward to today. So how is your relationship now with your dad?
Oh, non-existent. Yeah, um I stopped it after the last time he had moved in and out of where I'm at, the town I live in, a couple of times. Um, and I wasn't treated very well. I wasn't welcome with him very much. And after this last time, um, things weren't going well between him and some of his friends, I guess. And he basically just kind of packed up and was leaving. And I found out in like a secondhand way, and it wasn't from him that he was leaving again. And I had talked to him like the day before. He could have mentioned it. And I thought, wow, I really, really feel like I don't matter. I mean, why do I keep going into this? I'd cut the relationship off a while back, and he popped up on the radar again. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try again. Let's see if we can make this work. And yeah, so I felt like the whole thing was kind of a waste for me. And I could never, in my eyes or my opinion, do anything to get his love. So I'm like, why do I keep chasing this? Why do I keep trying? So when I learned he was moving, and he didn't even tell me that himself, I was like, okay, done. I'm done. So that was me setting a limit for myself. I can't do that anymore.
So this is a vast difference from your teenage years. Before you felt like you weren't worthy, you blamed yourself, you felt like uh you blamed yourself for everything that happened, but now you're saying no, it's all on him and I'm cutting him off.
Well, I mean, nothing's ever 100%, but um, in that I'm not willing to give of myself to that relationship anymore, that's where I set the limit. He's he's going to be who he's going to be, and for me to expect any differently, that's the definition of insanity, right? So what I was trying to do was insanity too, chasing that relationship for all these years. And I finally said, oh, that's it. I'm done. But I don't regret all the time that I tried, because I thought it would be worth it in some way. But I realized that I don't need him in that way. It's like, oh my God, I'm doing well. I'm okay, and I'm happy, and I've got good people in my life. That's not going to work out, and that's okay.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like you matured a lot
Mm,
from what I hear. You it's
mostly.
what because it sounds like you have more self-awareness.
Yeah. More self-awareness, more self-respect, more self-love. Yeah. Self-esteem.
Mm. So now tell me about your mom. How are things with you and your mom today?
They're good. Um, that's been pretty interesting too the last few years. So when I moved up to the town I'm in, I moved her up with me as well. She's getting older, and I wanted to make sure she was taken care of. And um, it was challenging. It's gotten a lot better, but we're able to talk about all these things, right? That you just don't talk about. Um, and I was able to share with her all the stuff that pissed me off, and she was able to share all the stuff about stuff that I had done that pissed her off and hurt her. And was amazing having this like, oh my God, it's a grown-up conversation. I'm an adult now. It was fantastic. We've done a lot of healing here.
Did your mom did your mom talk to you about the split
You mean recently or way back then?
recently?
Um, kind of off and on. We had gone there a number of times, and um, got her version of things, and um, yeah, I know how she felt. Yeah,
Are you able to go into that?
yeah, she was betrayed. My dad was cheating on her, and then also in her eyes, he basically abandoned us. We just got to that new city, and then he almost within inside of 6 months. I'm pretty sure he planned it. Um, yeah, that's hurtful, right? High school sweethearts, man.
So the so she's still angry?
You'd have to ask her that, but I think so. Yeah, a
What about you? Are you still angry?
little bit.
Tell us more about that anger.
Oh, so it's multifold. So I'm still mad at him for not being very nice to us. And then I'm also a little mad at myself for continuing to chase him down. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't let go of it. Like I needed his approval and justification so badly that I chased that relationship down for a good part of my life. So I'm trying to forgive myself around some of that. Just say, it's just that's what happens. That's how it goes. And I'm trying to forgive him for the rest of his part of it.
Are you well, you said you cut off the relationship. So
Hmm.
there was a point where you stopped chasing him.
Yep. Yeah. But I chased him for a long, long, long time, and I realized in doing that I wasn't fully taking care of myself. So that's where I have some shame, maybe not anger, maybe shame around all that time spent chasing something that I knew somewhere down deep wasn't going to happen.
Tell me more about that shame.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it feels, excuse me. Um, it's like, why didn't I know, or why couldn't I see it or accept it way back when? I knew he didn't want to change and probably wasn't going to change, but I still kept chasing after the same thing. I wanted that love and acceptance, and yeah, it's like I knew so many times like that it wasn't going to happen, but I kept going after it anyway. So yeah, feels a little shameful.
That you were striving for his attention, and you're ashamed because you wish you wish you moved on sooner.
Yeah, because I knew better, right? I mean, I think I knew better, but I didn't know better.
Mm, okay. So are you at peace now with your dad?
Yeah,
Within yourself, I mean.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't wish him any ill will, any harm. Um, I hope that he's able to find his peace in whatever form that would look like for him, whatever that means to him. I remember asking him, oh, maybe a year plus ago. It's something I'd asked him even many years ago, but I asked him if he was happy, and he kind of he goes, oh, I'm content. So that makes me sad that he couldn't be happy, like he couldn't find something to make himself happy. Oh yeah, that's sad.
Right, because that he left your mom, he left his family, and he wasn't happy.
Yeah, no, and I mean, he went and started another family, right? So he got married and had a couple more kids with this other woman, and he never found his peace. He never found a happy place for himself. So that makes me sad for him. So yeah,
So you still empathize with him?
I have compassion for him.
Because some people would just say, I wish my father were dead, but you have compassion for him.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go hang out with him on the weekend or anything, but I can feel compassion for him. I can still love him even though I don't like him. I don't know if that makes sense, but um, yeah, I don't want to spend any time with him, and I wouldn't be terribly upset if I didn't see him again. But I can still have love and compassion for him as another person.
Hmm. All right. So would you? Well, you said so it sounds like you have a more of a closer relationship with your mom than your dad.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, probably always have.
So do you have any anger towards her and what happened?
Um, no, not around that. We had some other stuff to get through. Um, but no, I mean, I know, in some way who he is, right? And I know I have memories of how he behaved. I didn't know all of the stuff until later, but yeah, he was not easy to be around. He was not enjoyable to be around for a lot of times.
So you leaned more on your mom, that sounds like.
Yeah.
Hmm. So I'll I'll wrap it up on this last little experiment, if you'll indulge me. So if so your your 11-year-old self is standing in front of you, and he just watched everything unfold. What would you tell your 11-year-old self?
That I'm enough as I am, regardless, and that I can give myself the love that I've been seeking for so long.
All right. Awesome. All right. So let's I like what you just said. So I think we're gonna just pause right there. All right. So let me put up your banner. All right, you guys. So Michael is he's all over social media. You can follow him on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And he's also a life coach. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. Canine partnered energy coach.
Can you talk a little bit about your business?
Yeah, yeah. So my company name is Dogs and Men, and I work specifically with men because we need a lot more help. We're not willing to ask for help. We're not willing to be vulnerable, and we get stuck a lot easier than most women do. So I utilize the dogs that are already present in the homes of these guys to help them access different parts of themselves that they're just not able to get to. And yeah, sometimes there are big changes, some career changes, life changes, um, relationship changes. Sometimes people realize that they're actually pretty happy where they are, but they couldn't see it. So it's really cool. It's fulfilling as hell.
Awesome, awesome. And are you still taking clients?
I am still taking clients.
Fabulous. So you heard that, guys. Oh, well, literally, guys. um, so if you're looking for a life coach, if you're looking for someone to talk to, and wait, do they have to have a dog, or does it matter?
Um, that's yeah. I would prefer if they had a dog or were willing to get a dog. There's some very, very powerful lessons that as humans we just don't listen to, and dogs are amazing teachers.
All right, so you heard that, men. If you have a dog or you're willing to get a dog, and you're looking for a life coach, Michael is your guy. So definitely hit him up on social media, check out his websites, and definitely reach out. And I just want to make sure that we get this before we close. You have a book that you want to promote.
I have a book. Does it look like
Yeah.
this?
Yeah, it looks like that. So tell us about your
Well,
book.
so this was an intro to helping yourself heal for guys with dogs. Um, like I said before, it's really hard for us. We're raised differently. We don't know how to express. We don't know how to show vulnerability. We don't know how to ask for help. We don't know how to move forward. We get stuck real easily. So this is some very vulnerable things about me in my life, and things that I discovered and ways to help move forward. And it asks a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions in there, and you're like, oh, what? So, and some super uncomfortable stuff. So if you're not willing to get uncomfortable, and yeah, maybe don't read it.
But we want people to read it.
Yeah, yeah. See
Ah,
that's creating mystery.
ah. And
So
where can people get it?
it's on Amazon. There's a Kindle version and a paperback version. Barnes and Noble. You can order it through your own bookstore because it's distributed through Ingram. And yeah.
All right, and it's on sale now, right? No,
Oh
not a
yeah.
pre-order.
Nope. It's
All
been
right.
out since September. So
All right. So get out there, guys, and get that book. All right. So Michael, thank you so much for joining me again today, and thank you for being so open. I do appreciate you being here and sharing your story.
absolutely. I mean, if it resonates with one person and they just go, wow, wow, I didn't realize that, or I hadn't thought about that, or I guess I can do something. Then yeah, then I'm happy, right? I just want to help folks.
That's what it's all about. All right. So thank you, Michael, and I'm going to place you backstage. And it is just you and me, guys, as in universal guys. It is you and me. So I'm going to put up my own little banner here. And we have reached the conclusion of our episode. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are, as a reminder, we are a Step Ahead Tutoring Services. Please check us out on our social media for more videos and clips. And don't forget to press that like button, press that subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching this on Facebook, press that like button. If you're watching this on Twitter, press that follow button. So wherever you are, please follow us, please like us, subscribe, and share this message with the world. And one more thing I want to ask of you, let us know what you thought about this episode by leaving a comment in the comment section below. And if you would like to learn more about A Step Ahead Tutoring Services, the services that we offer, more about our workshops, more about the Hot Topics web series, feel free to check us out online. Our website is www.astepaheadtutoringservices.com. And I'm going to play this one message before we officially close.
Hey there, have you heard of us? We're a small team of tutors here at A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. We believe that education and information should be accessible to everyone, regardless of income, race, or creed. We're dedicated to making this happen, but we need your help. Please consider making a donation to our company. No amount is too small. Your donation will allow us tutors to remain employed, offer free and low-cost services, put on productions like this web series, and reach out to families nationwide. With your help, we can tackle the academic challenges of our students and the emotional, mental, and behavioral changes that result from these challenges. As a bonus, we can improve our communities in the process. Support us today. Note: we're a for-profit company. We're not a charity. Your donation may not be tax deductible. Please consult a tax professional.
Yes. So, yes. Thank you for joining us for this episode. I look forward to seeing you at the very next episode. Thank you again for joining us. And now we're signing off.